Every single wrestling company has an ace, a babyface that runs the place. See what I did there, AJ? Happy birthday, by the way. His birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday to AJ Styles. You're phenomenal. Please don't get old. Anyway, like I said before, every wrestling promotion in the world has a babyface. WWE had Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Stone Cold, and of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling is not an exception. Their babyface number one, their ace, is no one else but Hiroshi Tanahashi, one of the very first great superstars in New Japan Pro Wrestling of all time. And like any babyface, like any ace, he had multiple title runs, 8 in total, 8 IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and aside with others accomplished as Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, and never Open Weight Championship. But today we are here to talk about the match that gave him probably his last run as a world title. The match against Kenny Omega in Wrestle Kingdom 13. Let's start saying that this wasn't the first match ever. They actually had one before. One that happened in 2016. Tanahashi was the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He was supposed to face Shinsuke Nakamura for the belt, but Nakamura resigned and went to WWE, so he needed a new opponent. And that was the Rising Star in Kenny Omega, the new member of the Bullet Club. They faced in the New Beginning 2016, where Kenny Omega came out up top, winning his first ever heavyweight champion after 1 month of losing his last ever junior heavyweight title in Wrestle Kingdom against Kushida. Now we go to 2018. Kenny Omega was in the feud of his life against Kazuchika Okada, won the belt for Okada in their fourth match at Dominion 6.9 in Osaka, Johal, the best wrestling match ever according to me. So he needed new opponents, and that's when the G1 climax happened. The winner was no one but Hiroshi Tanahashi, beating Kota Ibushi in the finals. Ibushi had actually beaten Kenny Omega in the same tournament in the way parlance of the Golden Lovers. So at first many people would think that Ibushi would have faced Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, but no, it was Tanahashi. On the build to the match, we had the mythical match, for me one of the best matches I have ever seen, at the Road to Tokyo Dome in 2017. The Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, against Hiroshi Tanahashi and Will Ospreay in the killer of a match. Before getting into the match, we have to say first that no one ever that won the G1 Climax came out as champion in Wrestling Kingdom before this match. No one. Hiroshi Tanahashi himself won a G1 Climax before, and he ended up losing against Kazuchika Okada. So the odds were pretty high. What will happen? Will we see the first ever G1 Climax winner? Will Kenny Omega retain and go over to face Okada later, have more opponents? People didn't know, but they were excited for this match. One of the key moments of this match is the story being told between Omega and Tanahashi. Tanahashi doesn't respect Omega at all. Tanahashi believes that he's a way more ruthless wrestler than he should be. He thinks that he uses pretty much outside of the ring, that he uses the tables, he uses chairs, he uses many objects that shouldn't be used in a wrestling match. Tanahashi is one of those people that believe that a match should be decided in the ring, nothing else, just pure wrestling. But Omega was against that. So as you can see in the match, basically Tanahashi has zero respect for Omega, slapping him, but Omega doesn't back down. He actually replies with other slaps, with making fun of Tanahashi in the match, especially with his legs. His legs hitting in this match is amazing. The power between Omega's legs is what I think makes him so awesome, the way he connects those big triggers, those kicks to the chest. And it's very important to say that also there was the story of the respect between the two wrestlers was being told in the ring. There was also a story behind Tanahashi's back and Omega's knee, because Omega was targeting Tanahashi's back, going back and forth, back suplex on the apron, throwing him around, multiple kicks against the aces back. And like I said before, Tanahashi was actually targeting Omega's knee. He knew Omega has that explosion that I already talked about in his leg, so the perfect way to prevent that was attacking Omega's knee, preventing him to connect with triggers and multiple moves. The first spot for this match for me was when Kenny Omega threw Tanahashi to the commentary section, actually hitting his back in the edge of a table. That was completely brutal, but it looked amazing. Then Omega jumped in the barricade and did a standing moonsault on the barricade against Tanahashi. That looked really, really beautiful. And like I said before, the respect was there because Omega made the Japanese commentary raise his hand in front of Tanahashi like if he won this match. That was really, really cool. Like, this storytelling for me is amazing. Now we get into something that I usually never talk about, but I should, is the in-ring psychology with the crowd and with the people that are watching this match. I already mentioned that Tanahashi isn't a fan of using tables or of using chairs, but at the same time, Tanahashi has something that every main event wrestler needs to have, and it's the hunger for a title. They need to win this title. They need to do everything in his capacity to win this belt, to respect his company. So at one moment, Omega pulls out a table, places it down. He doesn't connect with Tanahashi, but Tanahashi has Omega grabbed by his hair. He just looks at the table saying, should I? Should I not do it? Is it worthy? Is it not? At that spot, he doesn't use it, but we will talk about that table later. Other thing I mentioned before was the key in Omega's knee in this match. And this shows how talented Omega is and how good he is at paying attention to the details. He starts selling the knee injury like if he was held. One specific point was when he's going to do you can't escape move. He places Tanahashi on the ground, then jumps, but at the time that he jumps, you can see like how he sells the pain of his knee, how is he hurting, that how is that slowing Omega down, pulling out his speed, his quickness. That is very much the key factor in his moveset, and actually he isn't able to apply that move because Tanahashi gets up quickly and takes down Omega from the second row. Another thing really for the details is when Tanahashi did the styles clash on Omega. New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE have mutual respect for each other. They don't mess with each other. They're actually talking for a partnership, but like New Japan doesn't attack WWE, and it's actually that they are honor. Like in the Alpha against Omega match, you can see like they mentioned that Chris Jericho was a former WWE champion and many stuff in their lives. So when this guy Tanahashi does the Styles class, they actually mention AJ Styles in WWE, which is actually really cool, and you can see how WWE also has the respect for New Japan Pro Wrestling when you have AJ and Brock Lesnar showing up. They say they were a former IWGP champion in Japan. That's actually really cool. But besides from that, this is joking because Omega was the one that kicked out AJ Styles from the Bullet Club. Styles was the leader, but Omega betrayed him and sent him to WWE. So it was cool seeing how Omega got what he deserved, putting over a Styles clash on him. Another great spot for me in this match is the apron sling blade from Tanahashi that looked brutal. The table was actually nice today, and you were thinking, man, maybe something's going to happen with the table like we saw in the Omega vs Okada match in Wrestle Kingdom 11, but no, Tanahashi does an apron sling blade that looked absolutely brutal and beautiful. Now we get into the table. As I said before, we're going to talk about the table again. And well, what did happen? Tanahashi was actually going to use the table. He placed Omega. He was actually going to do his SS high on the table. He jumped and Omega dodged, and Tanahashi ate completely the table. Tanahashi was up to betraying his ideals, to betraying his principles, just to win the title. That was amazing, and he was actually wrong because he ended up going through the table. We already talked about Omega selling that knee injury. Other one that did sell something was Tanahashi selling his back pain. That was amazing, and especially seeing Tanahashi overcome the pain. Omega being a heel in this match, going back and forth on the back, hitting after hitting after hitting, harder and harder and harder, until Tanahashi was able to stand back and overcome the pain, and actually doing later two aces high, and this is possibly one of my favorite kicks out of all time. Kenny Omega kicking out of two aces high. The near fall was there and was perfectly done. It connected with the crowd and it connected with the people watching it at home. Another great spot in this match is the top rope snap suplex. Jesus Christ, Tanahashi's head bouncing into the mat. That was painful. You can see like he doesn't land with his neck, which is very good because that would have probably gotten him injury, but his head bouncing against the mat, that looked absolutely painful. For that, really a cool spot, and fair play to Tanahashi for taking that spot at that age. But it wasn't enough for Omega. Tanahashi overcome the pain again. Another SS high. 1, 2, 3. Hiroshi Tanahashi becomes an 8-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And for me, the best part of this match is after when you have Tanahashi doing his promo. I don't speak Japanese, so I didn't understand it, but it felt emotional, and just people asking him to perform his guitar, his A guitar that he does after matches. These people knew this was their last time seeing their ace lifting up the IWGP Heavyweight Champion of Wrestling Kingdom. They knew there was no more Tanahashi, that he's probably going to win another title, another world title again, and just asking him to please perform it. It was amazing, perfectly done. It was emotional, very good for Tanahashi for having that connection with the crowd. Like my other reviews, like Wartel against Bate, like Styles against Ibushi, like Elite against Young Bucks, this match doesn't really have a meaning for the future, but it's more like a conclusion for something for Tanahashi. Like you can say, yes, Walter against Bate was the start of this monstrosity of Walter domination reign. The Elite against the Bucks was the start of the tag team division in AEW. Styles against Ibushi was the start of Ibushi as a main eventer. But this was the last match for Omega, and possibly Tanahashi last win as a world title. So it's like the conclusion of two of the best wrestlers in New Japan history. It was just the end. And I know I'm going to talk about right now about the controversial of Omega leaving in his best moment in New Japan Pro Wrestling and going to AEW. I can see why many people hate that match. Like, man, all this is waiting for Omega, like 2 years in the building for Omega to beat Okada, and just after 4 defense, he's dropping the title. Like, what is this? But that's not New Japan's problem. It's not their issue. Like, they cannot control this. It's like people throwing them shit because of the COVID-19 crisis and the injury which lost player now. They cannot control that. Like, and they cannot control that Kenny Omega will say one day, mate, I'm out of here, I'm going to other place. They cannot control that. Kenny Omega decided to leave, and he was champion, and he knew that he was going to hold this title for over a year. That was basically known. And he decided to leave. He decided to go to other place. That's his choice. That's not New Japan's problem. So let's enjoy this match. Let's enjoy that Tanahashi had a career performance at 40 in his 40s. Let's enjoy that he came out on top of Wrestling Kingdom. Let's just enjoy it. And let's think this is not New Japan's problem. Like, what will they do? Like, force Omega to stay? Like, no, you have to stay. You're the champion. You're not dropping the title now. No, they can't do that. It's his choice. He wants to go, go. But they made it perfectly by dropping the belt to Tanahashi instead of other wrestler. The first ever G1 Climax winner in Wrestling Kingdom and the last run for the Ace. The best part in the video for me is the rating. Meltzer gave this match a 5-star. For me, it's also a 5-star match. The storytelling between the disrespect of the two wrestlers, the selling of the knee injury and the back injury, Tanahashi overcoming the pain, and just the emotion between the match is for me a 5-star match without any doubts. Well guys, that will be all for today's video. If you have suggestions of any match I should review, leave a comment. I suggest you to follow on my Instagram account because there I'm doing votes for the match that I should review next, sometimes leaving options for you guys to decide. So link in the description down below for Ace of Wrestling Instagram account. Well, that's all. Thank you for watching the video. Bye bye.